Chapter 25, The Final Signal and a Spark of Hope. At a hut at the edge of the forest, the soft moonlight bathed the figure of Plurng, who was sitting on a bamboo bench sharpening his sword. His heart was strangely turbulent. An inexplicable unease had gripped him all day, like a premonition of disaster. He thought of the look in Anjali's eyes on the day they parted, a look filled with conflict, a mixture of concern and resolve. Suddenly, a massive pain shot through his mind like a lightning strike. The entire world spun, and the sword in his hand fell to the ground. Plurng clutched his temples tightly as a blurry vision sharpened in his mind's eye. A dark, ancient hall, an altar glowing with a blood-red light, and the figure of a woman he knew so well, Anjali. Then the sound echoed, not a sound heard by his ears, but a scream that pierced deep into his very soul. Plurng! The voice was filled with pain, despair, and a final plea. It was Anjali's voice. It vibrated through every fiber of his being. The strange connection he had always felt with her had now fully served its purpose, transmitting all her feelings directly to him. The fear, the anger, and the concern she held for him and for the world. And then, everything fell silent. The pain vanished, leaving behind only an emptiness and a chilling cold that consumed his heart. Plurng gasped for breath, cold sweat beading on his forehead. Anjali, he whispered her name faintly. This was no dream, it was too real. The echo of her pain still clung to his heart. He didn't know the full story, but he knew one thing with absolute certainty: she was in mortal danger, and it involved him. Bloodline of the night. Her words from that day echoed back in his thoughts. Everything was starting to connect. At Kunamnat's castle, Anjali's body fell limply to the floor, her consciousness fading after sending that final call. Kunamnat glanced at his daughter's body out of the corner of his eye before letting out a derisive laugh. So foolish! What did she think she could accomplish with that meager power? He had no idea that Anjali's meager act was the very thing that had ignited the last remaining spark of hope. He turned his full attention back to the ritual before him. The ancient runes on the floor began to glow in even more intense crimson. A vortex of immense energy started swirling around the altar. Outside the castle, the sky began to darken unnaturally as black clouds gathered in a terrifying spiral, rumbling as if they would tear the heavens apart. Soon I will possess everything, he declared, his voice filled with arrogance. Plurng shot to his feet. A certain instinct, an instinct awakened by the bloodline of the night, was screaming at him that time was running out. He no longer hesitated. His mind was clear of all confusion, replaced by a singular, clear purpose. He had to save Anjali. But where to go? He closed his eyes, trying to recall her voice, and then he felt it, a strange pull emanating from the far east, from the direction of a deep forest feared by the villagers, a place they called the Demon's Domain, the location of the forgotten ancient castle, Kunamnat's castle. I'm coming now, he said to himself, his voice firm. He bent down, picked up his trusted sword, and secured it at his waist. He grabbed a few essential supplies, tossing them into a satchel, before turning to look at the moon, which was now being obscured by the ominous black clouds. Wait for me, Anjali. With those words, the young man who was the final hope shot off into the darkness, heading straight for the heart of the impending catastrophe. The race against time had begun, with the fate of the three realms hanging in the balance.